Good evening, everybody, and let's quickly get connected here on myself. Good to see that few people I know very well already. But anyway, it's a good opportunity to have a good dialogue here. Once again, to clarify certain things in the safe context, right? I'm sure few of you know about this safe and roles and responsibilities. This has becoming very important topic of late. So we are running even this topic itself multiple times in the interest of multiple demands coming from various organizations. And different people are joining from different organizations. This is the need of the hour, looks like. So we are running this series again. And so let's explore this, and I'm sure you will understand something better. Before we get there, just quickly, in the interest of everybody, again, I am Dr. Koti, based out of India and working for last almost 3 decades and 1 year into Air Force and 2 decades into IT world, 1 decade into Air Force kind of in India. Now, my latest experience is with C Prime, where I worked for PayPal account in Singapore and India on their transformation. And before that, I worked with United Technologies. Before that, I was with United Health Group, predominantly healthcare domain and ERP domains and banking and financial domains, what I worked with. And in this course of 2 decades, I worked mostly into Agile, fortunately Scrum, Kanban, and SAFe. And I was also supporting various roles in various organizations, various capacities. And also, these are the credentials what I carry and possess at this point in time in terms of various certification bodies as well. Currently, I'm working independently as a consultant on various organizations supporting their transformations, not limiting to SAFe. It is beyond SAFe, and depending upon the context of the organizations, I'm trying to help as part of my coaching and consulting engagements. I'm also delivering trainings globally on SAFe and beyond. As you see here, the PMI, Kanban, ICSL, and stuff like that. So I'm here today to share some of the roles and responsibilities on the SAFe context in specific. I'll quickly walk through on a couple of slides, and then probably I will take any questions to answer, which is the most important stuff for today. So with that, once again, warm welcome for this discussion of understanding the roles and responsibilities in SAFe. First thing first, what is SAFe? For those people who don't know SAFe, if anyone here, and roles and responsibilities in specific, right? So typically, the biggest problem in today's organization is running behind the credit. Somebody does the work, somebody else look for the credit. Unfortunate and pity things most of the time. Nobody does their job to the best of their evidence, and then they always run behind this credit. So as Harry Truman says, it is an amazing thing what we can accomplish as a team if you don't care about who gets the credit. So this is the beauty, what I have seen and experienced most of the time. And we must get out of this situation, regardless of where you work. I think we need to think about the oneness in the game rather than working in silos and reinventing the wheel kind of thing, right? All the magic happens when you really don't care about who gets the credit. That's the important message I wanted to give as part of these roles and responsibilities, rather than getting into more blaming games, right, in the organizational cultures. Ultimately, the goal is to improve the business outcomes. It is not about someone is doing a great job and someone is not doing a great job. It is at the end of the day how we are collaboratively doing the things together by understanding upstream and downstream in any organization. If you don't care about this overall goal of the organization, whatever the great things we do, it does not make any sense. So always focus on the big picture of the enterprise to bring the business outcomes as a holistic approach. So to get there, the SAFe has provided a big platform. As you see here, the big picture of the SAFe. There are many things and in many spectrums and dimensions you can use and leverage in the interest of your own organizational context. The very purpose of the SAFe is business agility. It is not about your IT agility alone or somebody else's agility, right? If we don't do all the people in the organizations together culturally, we will limit ourselves to a particular business unit or the lines of business. And at the end of the day, how they are aligned to the big picture of the organization, again, a questionable thing, right? Instead of that siloed approach, how do you really bring that entire orchestration of the organization to maximize the value to the customers in terms of the potential solutions what we create? So to make it happen, this SAFE is a great platform, and it has got certain rules to explain. And some of them are, this is the team level rules. As you might be knowing, some of these dimensions of team level rules, regardless of the SAFE, typically comes from a Scrum ways of working. Because Scrum is universally accepted at the team level, even in the SAFE, the guidance is still there with different names here. SAFE want to be agnostic to the frameworks at the team level. They have the flexibility of the teams using the framework what they need. It does not matter Scrum, XP, Kanban, or anything for that matter. So they are calling Agile team as a base team in the train. And of course, Scrum Master and Product Owners are the more popular names by roles. So they are part of the overall value creation, right? As a business team and Agile team, what we call. Ultimately, this team is responsible to create the incremental value. It does not matter what level you are scaling. We usually say Agile teams are the fuel to the organization. Or if you are talking about scaling Agile context, the Agile release train is the way of life. And for that, if you want to build teams around that, it is the teams at the end of the day makes trains possible. Whether you are talking about a simple or single train or multiple trains or solution trains and portfolios in the SAFE context, at the end of the day, without teams, nothing will happen. The actual value comes from the teams who are the basic backbones of the trains and beyond. Sometimes we call the fuel to the train is the teams. And this team comprises of all the cross-functional people, including these two specialty roles. Now, if you look at the Scrum Masters in the SAFE enterprise, these people do a lot of things in terms of creating value and supporting different roles in the enterprise. First and foremost thing, Scrum Master is the process owner or the Scrum, this team we call as the Agile team, the custodian of the Agile teams to make sure that they are doing their best by resolving or facilitating in all the impediments. This person also helps the product owner in terms of doing their job better as well in the context of the framework. Because what happens is sometimes POs could be new to the framework, but Scrum Master is knowing the process of the framework, what you have chosen to work with. And also, Scrum Master helps organization in maturing the practices across the teams as well. So enterprise level, Scrum Master has got three primary responsibilities. One, to help the teams to facilitate in resolving the impediments, helping them to maximize their potential as a team coach. Number two, helping POs to understand their product value maximization better. Number three, working towards the organizational benefits. Now, in the SAFE context, little beyond this, Scrum Masters are going to participate in various Agile release train level events. Few of them are kind of the Scrum of Scrum in collaboration with release train engineer to understand the overall progress. Some other sync up meetings at auth level also at times it requires to join. Apart from that, all the iteration level meeting, this person will be there most of the time to make sure that teams are doing their best. Also, these people are going to collaborate with some other roles at the enterprise level in terms of orchestration, architectural guidance, and portfolio guidance. So typically, these people will become the representatives of the teams to help in all dimensions. Last but not the least, these people will become the evangelists to make sure that teams are doing their best engineering practices to educate and create a culture of highly engineering maturity discipline. So these are all some things which we say in SAFE beyond the basic responsibilities of the Scrum Master in the Scrum framework. There are many more things he or she has to do beyond the basic Scrum framework as we are discussing here. Product owners becomes the content authority for the teams, and these people has the final say in terms of what is expected to be maximize the value optimizer at times we call to maximize the value created by the teams. If somebody asks who is the final authority for the team's backlog, it is the product owner. And they have the final say on what needs to be done and what priority they need to be done. So any decision around the content for the teams will be taken care by product owner. That's the basic essence. If you look at the safe context again, product owners works beyond that basic team backlogs clarifications, right? They work closely with the product management team in terms of working on the vision and the roadmaps for the overall programs and the product backlogs. They also work very closely with the product managers in terms of the product maximizing the value, and also of course in terms of readiness to the program increment planning, what we call PA planning, one of the most important activity. They do a lot of pre-work, and during the PA planning they work more collaboratively. The ultimate goal of the PO is to create and facilitate and co-facilitating and co-creating the team backlogs and prioritization. And also another important aspect called PO sync-up meeting in the safe context. This person is expected to be part of the PO sync-up meeting, which will be typically facilitated by the product manager. At times RT also do. The expected purpose of the product owner in the safe context is to work collaboratively with the peer product owners on the overall product roadmap to make sure that any adjustments it requires in terms of the scope negotiation and helping each other to move forward. That is what expected from the product owner beyond the basic team's essence. If you look at this picture, this is part of the big picture what I have shown in the previous slides. If you also look at this, this is the Bible for the safe, right? ScaledAgileFramework.com, and this essential safe. If you look at this configuration essential, this is the smallest portion, which is the bare minimal anybody has to implement if they are claiming that safe. Now here, if you look at this diagram, there is a scope definition in terms of roles and responsibilities. Here, what you see these colors and these colors, if you do a correlation, product owner is basically looking after the frameworks and team backlogs. Regardless of what framework people use, they all need to create some team backlog, and product owner is accountable for that. Similarly, if you look at the product manager, there is a customer centricity and design thinking to understand the customer needs. And then if you look at the overall stuff here, the program backlog is the key for this person to be careful. As the PO is taking care of the backlog and prioritization at the team level, the product manager is doing the same thing at the program level. So this is all about stories. This is all about features. Now, if you look at the other side here, again, the dark blue color mapping to the product management, the vision and the roadmaps of the product will be the accountability of the product manager, while the POs can be contributing there. There is some overlap, shared area of concerns here, which means during the execution of the Agile release train, these two people work more collaboratively. That is the reason there are two colored overlapping here. These single colored things are accountabilities of these people. This overlaying couple of colors we call responsibility. So these two people are responsible for execution while they are accountable for certain things. This is the areas of concern which you need to understand what a person cannot delegate in terms of accountability. Now, if you look at some other roles in terms of the Agile release train engineer, system architect, business owners, product management, and system team are typical 5 roles to be successful at the train level. So if you look at some of the things here, from a solution point of view, there is a role called solution train engineer. If you look at the big picture here, this is where a solution train engineer comes from. So typically, when people are creating the value to the customer, if it is not fitting into one train, there is a need to start multiple trains. That is where we call this large solution. When you are going to large solution, multiple trains are expected to be started. At that time, there should be someone who can guide to maneuver the complete solution train. That is what solution train engineer. Release train engineer is meant for one train. Solution train engineer is meant for multiple trains together to orchestrate. As you see the trios here, RTE, system architect and product manager for the train, we have solution architect, solution manager and solution train engineer one level up to maneuver the complete set of trains. Now, to make sure that this all solutions together seamlessly moving forward, this person is accountable for single RTE. For any architecture guidance in the train, system architect is accountable. For the solution train, it is solution architect, right? From the backlog point of view, the program backlog, it is product manager. And from a solution backlog perspective, it is a solution manager. So basically, product manager means program backlog, solution manager means solution backlog. As you understand, PO means teams backlog. This is the hierarchy of the traceability of the requirements in the safe context. And these are the people who are taking care of different levels of the scoping there. Now, this is what I just mentioned about in terms of the collaboration here. System architect and solution architects are one side of the architectural piece. Product manager and solution managers are the business side of the world. For any value to be created to the customer, we need to always think the business side and also technical side. So system architect and solution architect are the technical part of the world will be taken care, and solution and the product management will take care of the overall business side of the game. Epic owner is another concept here. If you look at it in the portfolio level, you see there is epic owner and enterprise architect. So typically the epic owners are accountable to create the big wish list items of the enterprise in the interest of the organization. So again, these people are going to collaborate with all these people all the way from LPM to different levels of the stakeholders throughout to the teams level. Their goal is to create a meaningful functional value to the customer all the time by decomposing from top down. Also, when they are going to work upon certain things in terms of these customer solutions, they also need to understand the feasibility part of the solution. That is where we have the enterprise architect. These two people collaboratively work on both the functional value of the epics, sometimes we call business epics, and also there is a technical enablers which will be taken care by the enterprise architect. This enterprise architect typically drives the strategy for the entire enterprise, and they may be creating some reusable assets in the enterprise, platform level support and integration supports, and also the overall guidance to all the people in the enterprise to provide respective solutions as per their needs. So this person is more or less SME who will be supporting their downstream people all the time. So then we have a lean portfolio management here, as you see in the picture. This is again a group of people. This is not a single person team. This is typically a group of people from the stakeholders. Their job is to provide in 3 dimensions the support to the overall enterprise. One is how do they strategize the upcoming work and how do they help you to invest funding. Strategy and investment funding is the one of the dimension what they support. Then during the course of execution, there is something called agile portfolio operation. There are some stakeholders who will be part of execution of the value. Then finally, lean governance. This is another aspect we need to understand, where we need to keep a tab on what is planned, what is going on, what is expected, what is the delta. From time to time, we need to take some corrective actions. That's where lean governance is another aspect. As you see here, different stakeholders comes together for different dimensions here. Together we call LPM function for any organization, the governing body. Now, if you look further, SPC is important role in the enterprise. As you see in the big picture here, this is the SPC role. Now, this person again has got very important vital role in the enterprise. He or she need to be considered as a kind of go-to person for the framework questions and implementation questions. These are the SMEs of the SAFE overall. nobody knows better than safe except this person, right? That is the power comes from this SPCs as a safe program consultant. So typically they play the role of change agent in the transformation. They try to figure out the tipping point for the organization, whether they need safe or not. If yes, what it takes to get them prepared as part of readiness, helping various people to mentor them in the enterprise, make sure that everybody is educated on the safe journey on various aspects of their roles, and make sure that the organizational readiness, content readiness, and people readiness is done for their transformation in the safe. So this person plays vital role. And typically from my experience, I have seen for any art launches in the safe implementation, you need 2 to 4 SPCs per train. Practically, those high matured organizations do that. Some organization, even for 57 people, 1 SPC. Except training, they don't do anything else in terms of transformation. So basically, we need to really make sure that we are doing the right things for the right reasons. If you don't have the right people in the system, it does not help. So then we have the shared services here. Then this is all about how they are going to make sure that we are leveraging the people in the capacity of their time available. So sometimes what happens is some of the key people, you don't need their 100% capacity in the organizations. Those are the people we call niche skill people. Niche skill could be database consultants, or the EIX consultant, or security specialist, or compliance and regulatory people, and some of the end-to-end testers, many more people of those interested technical competent people on their own domain. We typically don't need 100% of their time. So we have something called shared services. If you look at the big picture also on the vertical palette here, these are the people who can be leveraged even across the value streams within the enterprise, within the portfolios as well. So this is where you can have a strategy about how to deploy their capacity allocations. Sometimes I have seen people using release management team, DevOps teams. Sometimes they keep it outside in the beginning to leverage them across the different business units as well. And also any engineering practices teams who are mature in the pipelines and the DevOps, they can also be shared services. Typically, we expect that every team is independently capable of doing that work. And then in the beginning, if the competencies are not there yet, these kind of shared services can be leveraged. Even we have a system team comes under the same thing here. If you look at the system team, it is a kind of team who will integrate all the people work together. So if you look at the big picture here, wherever you see there is a symbol of this people, a single person or a group of people, these are typically either a role in terms of single person or multiple people. If you look at the LPM, it is a group of people. Still, they have roles and responsibilities. Similarly, there is a group of people, roles and responsibilities with some tools and techniques. Shared services. COP, typically we call the community of practice with a common interested people coming together for their value maximization. This is a very good model in the enterprises works where people don't want to reinvent the wheel. They wanted to collaborate and cross-pollinate from their peers' learnings. It is a voluntary group. It is a kind of from like-minded people for the like-minded reasons. For example, Scrum Master COP, Product Owner COP, RTE COP. People can create many COPs as needed so that they are learning from each other. That's a great way to commonly sharing the knowledge across the organizations. Then, of course, customer is the way of life. All the customer centricity, we do everything there. This is the leadership team. They do have a lot of roles and responsibilities to make sure that they are exhibiting the leadership from the servant leadership point of view. They are developing their people to develop these solutions. Again, there is a lot of guidance from this leadership point of view in the framework. More literature is coming on this space. Now, this is a team and we talked about all of these things. What I would recommend is further, if at all you wanted to really understand more detailed information around these things, you can click on any of these things. It will take you to the very good articles. For example, you wanted to understand what is RTE means, what are the roles and responsibilities. It will give a massive information in this responsibilities and reporting structures, how it could be in the organizations, all the stuff is available. Similarly, who is say program consultant, lot of guidance there. So probably you can use some of this information, see what is your current roles and where do you map to this kind of organizational setup and correlate and take it forward on making sure that you understand these roles better. So at the end of the day, people does the work and they need to map to the current ways of working to the new ways of working and bridge the gap of the competencies to move forward. Anybody can do anything, right? At the end of the day, it is just that you need to understand the game better. You need to sharpen your own skills to fit into the right roles there. So that's all pretty much from there. As Charles Darwin says always, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. At the end of the day, it is the one that is most adaptable to change. If you are not ready to adapt to the change, if you are not flexible, you will be extinct from the market. There is no second thought about it. If you think I am doing great, I don't need to do anything more, you may not even realize that you are out of the market. And we have seen enough people, enough organizations extinct in the market who are not ready to change, right? So as also Henry Ford says always, you are old, it does not matter you are 20 or 80. If you stop learning, you are old, which means this is the era of continuous learning. You must always learn to thrive for the digital disruptive world and see to sharpen the saw all the time and make sure that live in a pursuit of doing better and always that constant sense of danger. Because what is working today may not be working for tomorrow. You must always upskill yourself. Somebody, as they always say, learning and relearning and learning. This is a cyclic process of everything in the interest of competitive world. So I hope that helps you to understand some of the roles and responsibilities in the safe context. It is just that you need to self-assess your gaps in the interest of this framework alignment. You need to bridge that gap to equip yourself in terms of playing that role better. So that's all pretty much from my side at this point in time. That is a quick walkthrough on the roles available. I am more than happy to take any specific question. We have some time for the questions and then we can wrap it up to give some time back. Anybody, any questions here?
So, Dr. Koti.
Yes.
Thank you for a very detailed and wonderful presentation. So my
Yes,
question
sir.
is, these days, my observation, I'm also working with a couple of agile transformations currently for some clients from US and Europe. The trend is like they're going for hybrid scaling. They're not going for only one framework. It's okay. The business demands as per the business agility. They're going for multiple frameworks or a hybrid frameworks. Like, anyway, they are using DevOps XP plus Safe plus whatever is good they take from something from Spotify, or somebody is liking area product owner, they take from less, or somebody they like something in a DAT, they take a role from there. Now, I'm okay. I don't have any problem, but I'm sure there may not be any standard process, but how do we see where the trend is going, like hybrid scaling, multiple frameworks? But only confusion is that learning from a team point of view, a lot of attrition is happening, hiring is happening, new people are coming in. So standardization may not be possible in terms of roles, but how do we keep doing agile coaching and training and mentoring when there is this lot of hybrid scaling, Koti?
See, basically, thank you for bringing that here. I have seen enough of these transformations. Unfortunately, fortunately, organization thinks very differently when it comes to transformation. The reasons for that is in many fold. One is cost optimization. Number two, unwillingness of the leadership to move forward, the legacy mindset of the people, the insecure feeling of the people as well in the organization. So If you have the ability of influencing the system by virtue of your roles, you can do a lot of wonders. Unfortunately, so-called agile coaches or say program consultants, they are not in the senior level of the up in the ladder of the organization. They can do so much only. They have the competency, and unfortunately, they cannot do much about it. The people who are sitting up in the ladder, they don't have the competency except the power of authority and influencing the people in their own hidden agenda of the enterprise. Now, the question is we as a consultant or coach, we must support the organizational agenda, which means if you are joining a company or if you are consulting a company, you are very clear about what you are expected to do in that company. First and foremost thing, we are all human being, right? At the end of the day, we have certain needs and we wanted to join somewhere to survive. Let me put it very straightforward. When we are joining those kind of organizations, we always think, let me get something to do. We'll figure out what we can do there. Sometimes if you critically review some of these JDs and expectations from the people, I'm sure sometimes you will not be even able to join because those are against your interests, conflicting priorities, what is expected there. Even further, if you move forward, what JD speaks is different, what they do in the ground reality is different. There is no correlation between JD and the reality. Having seen all of this enough, what I'm trying to say is you need to really go and understand the organization dynamics, and if you are aligned to that, you should continue to support. There is no if and buts there. No point in grabbing around that, no point in thinking what's going on, frustrations kind of thing, number one. Number two, if you can really change the game by influencing, you should strive for that. When you have a business case to transform, you need to do everything possible to educate the people and create the awareness. Education and awareness are the very, very vital assets, are the tools for you as a consultant, as a coach. Now, how much people are ready to listen to you is another question. Some organizations, they are welcoming some people based on their background and track record. Some organizations, they don't care, regardless of how much knowledge the person coming with. So there are many, many dynamics are there when it comes this about hybrid kind of things. You need to really study the ground realities and see the stakeholders to whom you can influence. If you cannot influence the system, look for those low-hanging fruits in the enterprise with the positive growth mindset leadership teams to take the journey forward. Otherwise, I would also recommend to look for those serious implementers. When I say serious implementers, there are few organizations or quite a few organizations who do anything to the core. For example, if somebody says we are using extreme programming, they do all the engineering practices. There is no if and buts. Some people struggle only to do the refactoring and pair programming. If somebody is saying we are implementing safe, they are implementing to the core. So you need to strive for those organizations looking for the opportunity if you want to work wholeheartedly there. Otherwise, if you go to an organization where this kind of hybrid model works, except frustration, you don't get anything, because I have seen enough of that. The only question is how much you can influence and change the game is what matters, or you need to figure out for a better opportunities. So this is what my experience in the last few years also. Nobody will welcome you with the red carpet of doing transformations. It is a struggle at the end of the day. Slowly, people are realizing the benefits of these things and the mistakes of theirs. They are slowly changing. If you look back, last 1 decade, year on year, the implementation of SAFE is implementing. The one of the fundamental reason is that leadership change in the mind. If you look at way back, it was 6%, the SAFE implementation. Now, year on year, if you look at all the latest surveys, they're all talking about kind of at least single digit is coming to 2 digit in the first 2 years, slowly 21%, 27%, 31%, before last year 41%, now it is almost 50%. It takes time for the people to realize the business agility and use some of these kind of frameworks. And so that patience is required, that penetration takes time. People realize when they're pioneers of competitors doing there, they will also realize the importance. better late than never kind of thing. I personally see that this is growing framework for the last 1 decade. I am sure that for the next few years it will be growing, because this is the one of the best possible framework for the business agility for the entire enterprise. Unlike for a single team kind of frameworks or anything for that matter, all consulting organizations kind of BCG or McKinsey, Boston's kind of special editions, all people are talking about safe is the way of life, and that's a proven track record. So find out those kind of opportunities and what influence you can do. If people are very rigid about the old ways of doing things, I don't think you will be able to do anything those kind of environment, because at the end of the day, everything is about the mindset. It does not matter safe or whatever the framework you call. It is all about mindset, right? You cannot expect miracles to happen with the old ways of thinking. If you are expecting something to happen differently, you also need to do things differently. Doing the same thing from the last century's ways of working and expecting the new miracles, it is just not possible, right? So long story to share all of my experience for that question. There is no short answer or straightforward answer. It is purely contextual.
Sure, Dr. Koti, thanks. That helps.
Right. Under the camouflage of the hybrid, people are not doing anything. Sometimes you might have heard about Kanban, sometimes Scrum. People call Scrum Ban. They don't do either Scrum or Kanban, but they call Scrum Ban as a hybrid model. None of the things will work for them. So like that, people customize in their own comfort zone, and no one is ready to really do the things in the right way they're supposed to. Good, thank you. Anybody else, any other questions? Yes, team, anybody, any questions? Otherwise, we can give you some time back. Looks like silence. Silence is golden at times. So if it is okay, we can call off this webinar quick to give some time back. So any last minute question?
If you have some questions, feel free to ask.
Or else you can write to Guaranto and we will revert to you with the appropriate answers as well. More than happy to support on a continuous basis. If no other questions, I think let's call off for today. Thank you for taking your valuable time on this weekend and being patient listeners and asking questions as well. We're looking forward for a next episode next time with the different topics. So stay tuned till then. Take care.